In this video, we will be talking about prime factorization, but let's first talk about factorization. When you factor a number, you're just going to express that number as a product of factors. So for example, when we factor 24, we could say 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, or 4 times 6. So these are the factors of 24. Notice that there's prime numbers in there, 1 and 2 and 3, but there's also composite numbers in there. So what is prime factorization? Well, prime factorization is when you write a composite number written as the product of prime numbers. This can only be done in one way, except of course we could rearrange those numbers. But this is called prime factorization. So let's discuss two ways to actually determine the prime factorization of a number. One is called factor trees and the other is the stair steps. Factor trees you may have heard of before in elementary school. So factor trees might look like this for 24. Notice that I split 24 into as 2 times 12. Then I split the 12 as 2 times 6. And then I split 6 as 2 times 3. So my factorization, my prime factorization of that, would be the 2, the 2, the 2, and the 3. I could also write that, though, a different way. We could, instead of splitting 24 as 2 times 12, we could also say it was 4 times 6, and then keep going. 4 is 2 times 2, and 6 is 2 times 3. But notice we're going to get the same answer no matter which factor tree we choose. And that would be 2, 2, 2 times 3. Or you could write that as 2 to the third times 3. Now let's use stair steps to determine the factorization of 24. This is what your stair steps looks like. You are going to divide 24 by 2 and you'll have 12 left over. Then divide 12 by 2 and you'll have 6 left over. Divide 6 by 2 and you'll have 3 left over. And finally 3 by 3 and you'll have 1 left over. And therefore our prime factorization for 24 is these outside numbers. And notice it is the same as when we did it with factor trees. Now I personally like my stair steps to go up. And this tends to be less confusing to students as well. And I'm going to go up this time, but I started with a different number. I said 24 can be divided by 3, and I'll have 8. Then I divide 8 by 2 and get 4, 4 by 2 and get 2, 2 by 2 and get 1, and once again, I still have the same answer that I had before with 3 2s and a 3. The key to doing prime factorization using stair steps is that you must divide by prime numbers. Notice I did not divide 24 by 4 or by 6. I only used prime numbers. So to turn into class, I would like you to find the prime factorization of 504, both using the factor tree method as well as stair steps.